There's baby gifts to have, and I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring, and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break.
I'm going to have to take a drink of this water if Cheers is coming on next.
Wouldn't you like to get away?
We're going back 40 years in time to the Cheers bar in Boston.
Everybody knows your name.
All right, we're actually not doing that. It's me, Corey Johnson, New Orleans native son. You're on the neutral ground, where the grass hasn't been cut in a long time. There's lots of cans and litter. That guy's taking a nap over there. All right, enough of Cheers. There he is, Mr. Drew Brees, hole number 9. Tightening us up as usual on a pretty nice Tuesday afternoon. We're still having that spring-like, summertime-like weather. A whopping 81 degrees today. And the humidity's up there around 70%, so feels like mid-80s, around 85 right now. In late February, in New Orleans, you gotta love it. The rest of the country, a lot of the parts of the country, including California over the weekend, pulling out the old ice scraper, the snow blower. You can have it. One of the big reasons I live down here, why you live down here, we may not think about it. I always mention stuff like the history, the architecture, the people, the culture, the music, the food, stuff like that. But weather needs to be thrown into that equation as well. Absolutely fantastic weather. We're on the northern part of the subtropic zone. So we get some really good weather most of the year. You know, I mentioned before, and I'll mention it again, that sort of Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Vancouver, the great Northwest. Seattle gets about 40 inches of rain a year. From Houston to Jacksonville, Florida, the I-10 corridor, it's the wettest part of the United States. We get about 60, 65 inches of rain a year, about 50% more rainfall than Seattle, Washington. But we get 60, count them, 60 days, 2 more months a year. 2 more months a year of sunshine compared to Portland, Seattle, Vancouver. 50% more rain, but 60 days more sunshine. So they kind of get that overcast a lot of the time, very humid, drizzly, colder. You're just not the greatest weather in the world. It's not the worst. Everyone adjusts. I was talking to a buddy of mine that went to grad school up at Cornell, upstate New York, Ithaca. He said, you know, you get used to the snow. You end up kind of liking it. You get used to it. You do. Folks move down here at first like, my God, this humidity is ridiculous. Then they get used to it after a while. No, folks in Seattle, there's a lot of cycling. Folks ride their bike to work. They've got the rain gear on. They adjust to that kind of humid, misty, sort of drizzling rain type of thing that happens a lot. That's sort of their regular weather. We're blessed. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we're Southern California or Honolulu or something. We're not. But we have pretty good weather compared to, you know, the rest of the country. So today in late February, I'm not really, no pun intended, sweating 81 degrees feels like 85. Kind of doing the opposite, embracing it. You should too. One of the reasons we live down here, our mild weather. We've got summer, about 4 months of insane, 5 months of pretty hot, humid weather, May through September. And then we have the non-summer season, not really a winter, kind of what we're experiencing now. And the good thing is this is a little longer than normal, this period we're having. I remember a couple of winters ago, we had an extended cold for like a week and a half. We normally have about 2, 3, 4 days tops of whatever weather we're having, if it's hot or cold in the non-summer winter season. And then it falls right back into the, 50s and 60s. We'll have a Coolio and the gang, a cold front rolling in on Friday, roughly. It'll drop temperatures, instead of what we're dealing with right now, 70s and 80s. It'll be more, mid 50s to low 70s. So it'll drop it down about 10 or 15 degrees, more like our typical winter type weather. Anyway, it'll be nice over the weekend, at least temperature-wise, starting out like in the 50s and then creeping into the 70s, which is nice. Anyway, Corey Johnson with you on a spring/summer like Tuesday afternoon in New Orleans. Thanks so much for joining us. Lots of ways to do it. Learn it, love it, live it. You're tooling around in the car right now, your drive time home. A few ways to check us out on the radio. Oh So Fine, 93.9 FM. Oh So Fine, 93.9 FM. Make it one of your presets. Set your phone, 4 o'clock. Oh, Corey's on. I better check that out. Spread the word. We're also on New Orleans' own 107.9 FM. The 4 o'clock hour on 107.9 FM. 600 AM, I always say it because it's true, a sneaky little powerful AM signal. 600 AM. From Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida, up and down the I-10 and I-12 corridor. Maybe you're beelining outside of New Orleans, the metro area. Check us out at 600 AM if you're in the car. You can always take the show with you to the gym, the hunting blind, doing some yard work, walking, jogging, exercise, whatever it might be, fishing. Use your smartphone. Live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. CoreyTalks.com. Corey spelled Kaare. CoreyTalks.com. You can email us to our website, Corey@CoreyTalks.com. And you can link up to our YouTube channel. Or you can go to YouTube, go to the search bar, put in Corey Johnson, Kaare, Corey Johnson Neutral Ground. Go to our YouTube channel, click to subscribe. It won't cost you anything. You can check us out there via the smartphone, the tablet, the pad, the computer. YouTube, live every day. You can check out yesterday's program, last month's program. You're checking us out in the 5 o'clock powwow. We had something good in the 4 o'clock hour you wanted to check out. Go to YouTube. Corey Johnson, Neutral Ground. Yeah, and spread the word. Send the link to somebody. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like I said, it doesn't cost anything. Hey, the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon brought to you by Katie's. Why aren't you at Katie's right now? The quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Big portions, great for sharing, lots of characters in there. Lunch, dinner, open throughout the day. A lot of people wind down their work day at Katie's in Mid-City. The Katie's of Harahan. You folks out in Harahan, River Ridge, Elmwood, Old Jefferson, Bienvenue, right in the bend of the road on Hickory Avenue. The Katie's of Harahan is Bienvenue. And yet a third Scott Craig restaurant, Scott Craig, the owner, operator, head chef of Katie's, Bienvenue. Francesca, the deli in Lakeview, in the old Charlie's Deli location. Right there on Harrison Avenue, in between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca in Lakeview. About 15 specialty sandwiches, including a nice hot roast beef, a big 10-ounce burger, perfect size. And they deliver to Lakeview, parts of Mid-City, lakefront area, 266-2511. 266-2511, Francesca Deli and Pizzeria. A great pizza oven and some of the best pizza in New Orleans can be found at Francesca. Katie's, Bienvenue, Francesca. Scott Craig's got a little restaurant empire going there. Got a good Tuesday show for you. Some good news on a couple of fronts. I think so. out in New Orleans East. We're always talking about New Orleans East more than anyone else, and we've been doing it for years, decades. So much growth potential. It's like a lump of clay. Unlimited potential for the East. And usually not such good news. Lack of leadership. A lot of leaders in the past that have done nothing. That's at the best. At worst, gone to jail. Propel Park is under construction. They're driving pilings, about 50 acres, part of the Michoud complex, building about 1.3 million square feet of new modernized industrial space, advanced manufacturing and distribution. That means jobs for New Orleans East and the metro area in general. Yeah, you're right. That's good news. I'll tell you some more good news about Cancer Alley and the feds getting involved. And the recall folks and the Secretary of State's trying to bang out a deal. I'll fill you in on all of that. Don't go anywhere. Corey Johnson with
The Port of New
Ground.
Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, now with 4 area locations. Canal at Carrollton, on the North Shore in Slidell, in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana, and now in Metairie, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. The Woodhouse Day Spa.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the Italian sausage with peppers or the soft-shell crab ravioli. Lunch Monday to Friday. Dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool.
Healthy and delicious? Hard to find in New Orleans, easy to find at Lebanon's Cafe. For the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine, make the Mediterranean diet on Carrollton at Jeanette. Lebanon's Cafe. Welcome back. Corey Johnson back at you on the radio, on television, on YouTube, taking you home in style every weekday afternoon. You are on the neutral ground. Got some good news for New Orleans East. Really good news. You know, New Orleans East to me it's more than a lump of clay with unlimited potential, because there are some pretty good things out there right now to begin with, like Folgers, like NASA putting man on the moon, and a bunch of other good things like Joe Brown Park and, you know, things of that nature. I'm missing a bunch of stuff. But my next guest knows a lot about New Orleans East, to say the least. Tangi Wall joins us. She's the president of Joe Brown Park and also the New Orleans East Matters Coalition. How you doing, Tangi?
I'm doing fine, Corey. Thank you so much for including me on your show.
No, thanks so much for joining us, especially on some fairly short notice. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
Hey, some good news out of New Orleans East. This Propel Park is being built. They're driving pilings already on a 50-acre site, basically on the Michoud Assembly Facility campus, which is already an incredible facility, 42 acres, climate controlled, under one roof. But this new Propel Park, modernized, industrial spaced, advanced manufacturing and distribution for the East, meaning more jobs and more of everything. Great news to hear that.
Absolutely, Corey. We're very excited in New Orleans East because, you know, we need great news and we need the game changers to happen. Yep.
No doubt about it. Textron's going to kind of be one of the first tenants. They're going to expand out there. No, you're so right about New Orleans East needing a leg up. That big concrete slab out there past the right before Michoud exit, I guess in between Michoud and the I-510, that big New Orleans East. You know, a buddy and I call that the tombstone sometimes, you know?
Yeah, many people did. It's really a monument. I guess we could look at it as the monument.
Yep. I remember when I was a kid, they had a billboard right there touting Orlandia, and it was supposed to be the largest neighborhood development in the country at the time. And
absolutely, yes.
Instead, that never happened. We see those exits to nowhere. But it's now Bayou Sauvage. It's one of the largest urban, wildlife refuges in the country. So
in the country, that's right.
But there is a lot of good in the East. NASA, of course, putting man on the moon. Folgers. There's definitely some positives out in New Orleans East.
And you know, Corey, so many people are not aware of these jewels. So we do have to talk about it more. We have to show something here. And that's why I appreciate you, because I know that you have a very big interest in New Orleans East. And right now, development and re-imaging, economic development opportunities are so paramount, you know, for our community. And many of what you mentioned, you know, with Folgers and the NASA project, and of course, Bayou Phoenix coming. We've got Joe W. Brown Park, the Audubon Louisiana Nature Center. We just did a hard walk out there this past Saturday.
Nice.
And it was really wonderful, beautiful weather. It was a wonderful event.
Boy, the potential for the East, like I said, is fairly unlimited. You just mentioned the Nature Institute. Pretty first class, the Audubon Institute, folks.
Yes, absolutely. It's beautiful. If you really want to breathe freely and enjoy nature at its finest, it's a place to be. It's really great.
No, it really is. Hey, Yep, we're visiting with Tangi Wall of the New Orleans East Matters Coalition. Tangi, they rebranded the Industrial Canal, the Industrial Waterway to make it sound better. They rebranded Airline Highway, Airline Drive. The Bridge City, they were going to name it the Fairfield Development. I don't know if that's going to happen or not with the expansion of the UEP Long Bridge and all. Is there talk of rebranding New Orleans East? Sally Ann Roberts had one of the best lines ever, like a tagline for New Orleans East: "The sun rises in the east." I thought that was brilliant.
Exactly. And we've actually had that on a few pieces of literature in recent years since Katrina. And there's been talk, very serious talk, even more so now, when you realize it's going to be 18 years since the landfall, of Hurricane Katrina.
Yep.
And the East really, has struggled, to really reclaim a place where economic development can really, really be seen and enjoyed. And I think we're at that place now, Corey, to tell you the truth. I'm very optimistic about it all of what you've mentioned, and there's more to come. And yes, we are talking about reimagining New Orleans East.
About 80,000 folks out there, a large black middle class community, a lot of Vietnamese folks, Venetian Isles, and it's modern New Orleans. Like most of the streets are in pretty good shape compared to the rest of Orleans Parish. Power lines are underground instead of above ground in a lot of parts of New Orleans.
Thank you. That's right.
Lots of linear canals and lakes and things of that nature to prevent and to aid in flooding. Retention ponds built 40, 50 years ago, where we still haven't done any in the rest of New Orleans since Katrina. So it's kind of the modern part of the city in a lot of ways.
Yes, and we've got the wetlands there at the Nature Center, which of course helps in flood mitigation.
Yep, no doubt.
For sure.
Hey, let me knock out a few negatives real quick before we move on to the potential positives. I was out there about 6 weeks ago. Boy, you pass like maybe Bullard and then just like no lights on the I-10. I went on I-510, pitch black. I exited at Almonaster and Old Hammond and Old Gentilly Road, and I was just shocked how dark it is. And I wasn't concerned about carjacking or anything like that because there weren't many people around. But not until I got by NASA and a shift was ending, like at 9 or 10 at night, was it lit up and I could see folks. But illegal dumping, the folks coming from out of state and dumping the tires, it really needs a little help. And I don't know who to fault on that, the city of New Orleans, the city council, leadership in the East, but the lights out on the interstate and stuff of that nature, the illegal dumping, it just seems easily fixed and easily stopped, especially these folks are coming in from Tennessee and Alabama with double wide 18-wheelers, double trailers, and just dumping tires and leaving. It's kind of like those folks sort of, hey, you go to Michoud, you can dump your tires over there instead of paying, $3, $4, $5 to get rid of each tire. It's really mind-blowing that still goes on.
And you're so right. And I guess it's all of the above when you mention any sense of responsibility. But I can tell you that with New Orleans East Matters Coalition, we have a group called our Community Task Force. And these young folks have taken it upon themselves to address each of the issues that you've mentioned: the lighting, the illegal tire dumping, the blight, the homelessness. I mean, there's just so many things that haunt our community and many others as well, but so much so out here because we have so much open land, so much availability. And I would say that under our current administration, our council, that it's being addressed more vigorously because this is not an overnight issue. This has been happening, Corey, as you know, for quite some time. And it's been an area that folks have felt like they can, dump freely in our open areas. And that's one of the, I guess, maybe the drawbacks to having so much land that's available and not utilized. So I think with the coming projects that we have, especially in those areas, along the interstate.
Yep.
That will help to, maybe alleviate a lot of that, because we're hoping to take a very vigorous approach. And that is happening now. I have to say our current councilman, Oliver Thomas, he is the right leader at the right place and time for New Orleans East. And he has taken lots of steps, to try to address these issues. Lighting has been one that's been challenging, but there has been some progress. We have a specific group that is looking at that with the 311 calls. And of course, city departments, have a lot of responsibility in these areas, both city and state responsibility along the interstate, So, it has been a challenge. It's not been an overnight thing since Katrina especially. But I'm feeling confident that it's really being looked at and being dealt with, in a very aggressive sense right now. But it's never fast enough, when you're in this position. I know our residents are just very concerned and have been patient, I feel. But I think our time is coming. And that, and rightly so, because this is a beautiful place. People do not realize the positives for the entire city, as well as this region that New Orleans East offers. We have signs that say now, New Orleans East open for business, because we really are. But there are many challenges that still need addressing. But unless you really take the step, to begin something, it won't happen. So we've got to begin something. Stay positive. Look at the good things. Talk more about the positives and not the negatives. Because, social media and sometimes the public aspects of how an area is displayed impacts developers. And we know that.
Oh, no doubt.
So, no doubt about it.
Yep.
And so we're on this trail now of positive feedback, focusing on the great things that exist here.
Kanye West was seen shopping at super discount stores.
Hang on one second. I'm going to take a quick break and we'll come right back. Okay?
Walt Disney,
Absolutely.
Nike, Google. Okay, I think Kanye was talking about something else entirely. Super discount store on Paris Road in Chalmette.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about New Orleans food, fresh local seafood, and even a few Italian specialties. Old school New Orleans, just like you remember. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
Hi, everyone. It's Tommy Wrong for AsbestosMoneyGrab.com. This is not, I repeat, not for folks with real asbestos problems. But if you're like me and were maybe taking a shop class in high school where you maybe breathed in some brake dust and you know for certain you're fine, but you're the type of person that takes advantage of these types of situations, get tested, lawyer up, and steal some money like me. Go to I'm not really hurt at all, but like exploiting the system for free cash.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Enjoy outdoor dining on the streetcar line, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine, Carrollton at Jeanette, Lebanon's Cafe.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
They River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Corey Johnson back at you on the program. Hey, every Friday, Michael Heck joins us from Greater New Orleans Inc. That segment's always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant out in Elmwood. They got you covered if you're looking for a new job, a new career, because this company is a worldwide manufacturing giant. They're on every continent on the planet, and they're hiring you East Bankers, West Bankers, right there in Elmwood under the UEP Long Bridge. You North Shore folks don't have to come across the causeway. They have a Latrim facility down I-12 near Hammond. For a full listing of positions available, go to Latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M. Latrim.com. Tangi Wall is with us. She's the head of Joe Brown Park out in the East and also head of the New Orleans East Matters Coalition. Now, I think you said something last segment, Tangi, that's true. Oliver Thomas really seems dedicated to moving the needle in New Orleans East.
Absolutely. I tell you, he is the best leadership at this point in our time, especially post-Katrina.
Yep.
He's very vigorous and very dedicated and boots on the ground. And that's exactly what we need. I'll be honest with you.
Yep. No, you're right. I think Cindy Wynn was good. I think she was an honest lady and she was trying hard. I just think maybe a little green with how the political system in New Orleans works, especially. And with Oliver, it's the exact opposite. He knows exactly how politics work in New Orleans. And he's had some mistakes in the past, but I think he has admitted those. He's paid his dues, and I think he's put that in the rearview mirror. Oliver's dad was a real honorable gentleman, and I think Oliver felt he may have let him down, and now he's doing the opposite, busting his tail to make everything right. And I think he knows if he can get New Orleans East to anywhere like it was 30, 40 years ago, he will be a humongous success.
Absolutely. And everything you say is very true. And he's very much dedicated and understands, the political system, there's no, discounting experience. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And proven leadership and experience matters so much. It really and truly does. And he's very forthright about his experiences, for sure.
Hey, Tangi, the Six Flags site, I-10, I-510, I kind of wish the city would have marketed that nationally, would have been proactive, got some out-of-town group to market it. Not that I'm disappointed, but Troy Henry's a Stanford grad. He's got an engineering degree. I wouldn't want to take a standardized test against Troy Henry. But but I was hoping, and I don't hunt or fish. I don't go to a Bass Pro Shop or a Cabela's. But we are like the Sportsman's Paradise, New Orleans East, the Bayou Sauvage, St. Bernard Parish right there, I-510 leading all that hunting and fishing.
I wish like a Cabela's Bass Pro Shop would have gone on that site, and like the runner-up would have been like Buc-ee's. And I don't go to Buc-ee's. I went to one time, but you know, even though those things aren't my bag, I know they're a lot of people's. And you know, a Disney park or something like that would have been the runner-up. Just something of that nature, like national entities. You know, instead of, you know, Troy Henry and Bayou Phoenix. And then the runner-ups, this kind of blew me away. The folks in second place were Drew Brees and Demario Davis, a couple of Saints players. Now, I know that everybody has good intentions, but I was hoping for something bigger. But you mentioned Bayou Phoenix, and I just mentioned Troy Henry and the Stanford engineering degree. Hopefully they break ground. It's been about 15 months, and typical New Orleans City bureaucracy slowing that project down. New Orleans East, like the lighting problem, New Orleans East deserves better.
Absolutely. I can't agree with you more. And right now we've got to escalate everything. You know, I think that, you know, the residents, you know, you get very tired of hearing about studies and research. Yeah. I mean, we don't feel there's anything more that needs to be researched or studied. It's time to break ground.
No, so true.
And that's why we were excited about the Nishu project now with NASA, because it's breaking ground.
No, their piling's in the ground. They're driving pilings.
That's what I'm saying. And that's the only measure of progress is when you see pilings in the ground.
No doubt. No, because we can mention, you know, the Plaza site. I remember post-Katrina was supposed to be a live, work, play. They tear down the entire shopping center, all the big box type, you know, retail there, the Dillards, all that type of stuff, the J.C. Penney, all of that just gone. And that's great if you're going to build a few $100 million in, you know, new development, but it's Ashton Ryan and FNBC and that Kylis guy with the Hard Rock Hotel collapse. That's sort of depressing. It's not going anywhere now.
Yeah, and I really just think that, as I was saying to you on the break, that I think it was such a mistake to just kind of bulldoze the actual buildings. There could have been something left of the site to build on. It wouldn't have been as, I guess, much to try to develop it. I know that the legalities are one thing, but even having something there for someone to look at to say, well, I can reimagine the building of that instead of just the ground, because it is more difficult when you look at the ground up.
No, these malls have kind of reversed what they do. Instead of going inside and entering from the inside, they reimagine with the entrances by the parking lot. So you just pull right up to the place you want, sort of like Elmwood. And then the inside, they rip the roof off and they make it open air. And it kind of becomes like a little park sort of thing. And you can still access the stores from that way. And then those big box stores, I don't know if you're getting a Dillard's or a Macy's, but maybe like a Dick's Sporting Goods and those types of things that could have gone out there. So no, I understood why they tore it down. But now looking back that nothing's happening, I think you make a great point. They could have reimagined the plaza and those big box buildings.
Absolutely. Because it wasn't as though the storm removed it from the slab, that there was nothing there. You know, there was something remaining. Of course, you know, we flooded like, you know, many other areas, but it was, I believe in many ways, some of that could have been salvageable and something to look to even reimagine, you know, redesign. As it's happening in other parts of the city, you know?
Yep, in other parts of the country where they convert these malls into a different type of thing and they're, you know, a total rebirth. I did have Oliver on the program a few months ago. He said the Lowe's will not be a Target. Maybe the mayor opening her mouth a little too soon and Target, probably dealing with city bureaucracy, got upset. But there is some good news. Oliver also said in the same segment that he went out to that location, the Lowe's, and they opened up the doors and another national retailer was touring the spot. Now, I've heard rumors of like IKEA, the furniture company. I think that would be perfect for that location because they're a regional type store. You would bring people in from Metairie, from the North Shore, from the West Bank, from Slidell, from even, you know, the Southern Mississippi would come to that IKEA, you know, just because that's how they work. They're sort of a regional thing. That would be something wonderful for that old Lowe's location.
I tell you, it is so worth it because that building is in great condition. It's prime. It's ready. It's on the interstate. Prime real estate.
Yep.
Corey, when you think about it, yes.
No, it's probably 12 years old or something. It's not that old.
It's not that old, and it's being well kept. I mean, the current owners. And it's right for a developer, who would take the opportunity, especially on the interstate. It's prime.
Yep. No, right on an exit, easy access. We mentioned
easy access. That's right.
We mentioned, pilings in the ground out in Michoud. That's what we need to see. Hoping for something at the plaza, hoping for something at the Lowe's. Directly across the street, the lakeside of I-10 at Reed. Hopefully those Mackey studios are built in the old Sam's Club Walmart parking lots. They tore down those buildings post-Katrina. Hopefully that Mackey studio gets built, but so far no shovels in the ground there.
Exactly. And see, that is unfortunate because the only measure that the residents, that we feel in believing in any of this is to see the shovels in the ground.
Yep.
To have groundbreakings, just as, yesterday with the Michoud, I mean, it's just, that is what it is.
Yep. The Pontchartrain Beach announcement, I know that's not New Orleans East. That was like over a year ago, and I've seen nothing going on at Pontchartrain Beach. That has been closed since the early 80s, 40 years ago. Now, if that isn't nauseating enough, 60 plus years ago, Lincoln Beach closed 60 plus years ago.
60 plus years ago. And then there's talk of redevelopment of Lincoln Beach. And we're watching that very closely because it deserves to be redeveloped.
Yep.
It's beautiful. The water is beautiful out there, Corey. It's the same lake that goes from west to east and east to west.
Yep.
Pontchartrain Beach. Yes.
I know this is kind of fantasy talk, but Kenner did a study, and they had an Atlanta company come out, and they're like, Rivertown, you should have houses and condos and apartments, take advantage of the water, living on the water. And we don't do that in New Orleans. Other cities would cut off their arm to have the access to water
you
we
better
have.
Believe it.
Those camps past Lake Forest and Hain that were blown up, it seems like that would be prime for condos or some type of living on the water on the lake out there. And not just camps, more permanent living. And then those exits to nowhere, Tangi, it just seems like you could develop a few hundred acres on either side, put those exits back into play, and then have those developers redo wetlands somewhere else in the east, develop wetlands somewhere else to make up for the wetlands they'd be taking in Bayou Sauvage. I just think we need to think outside the box for New Orleans East.
I think so as well. And even if you were to take a look at the beautiful, pristine, I mean, the water itself, as you said, others in other parts of the country would cut off their arm to have that type of waterfront.
Yep.
And beach property.
No, I mean, Lincoln
Beach.
Beach.
The sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit. Tangi, hang on 1 second. We're going to come right back. One more quick break. Don't
Dave
move.
Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Have a painting project but can't decide on the perfect color? At Helm Paint and Decorating, we offer half-pint paint samples in any Benjamin Moore color for under $5, so you can test potential paint colors before investing in a full gallon.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band, before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30. And they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville. Recently, Kim Kardashian was seen at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
Let's party.
Can you think of any other celebrities that won't sue us? Super Discount Store in Chalmette. The lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and cold beer. 3235 Paris Road.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
Hey, when you got a pain in Metro New Orleans, you go to Helm. Do it once, do it right. They'll take care of it, Helm. I painted my house about 9 months ago. I went to the Earhart location. I was there today, actually, visiting with Joey and Ronnie Helm and Keith Main. And these guys are pros. They steered me literally in the right direction. I got a lifetime paint. I'll never, ever have to paint my house again. And because it's Helm Paint and Decorating and it's affordable, if in 5, 10, 15 years I want to change the color, I can do it. Helm Paint and Decorating, 7 locations, plus free 2-hour delivery anywhere in Metro New Orleans. They'll steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating. Tangi Wall is with us. She is head of the New Orleans East Matters Coalition, also head of Joe Brown Park. Some potentially good things coming to Joe Brown Park, from what I understand, right, Tangi?
Absolutely. We are so excited with our organization, which is a nonprofit, the Friends of Joe W. Brown Park. We've been around for 13 years, going into our 14th year, and we've had a goal of a carousel for the park for those numbers of years. And we're finally seeing some light with it. It would be a history-making move, Corey, because our park has never had a carousel. And so many of the other regional parks do have them. And we're going to see this as real game changer for not just the park itself, but the New Orleans East. It will bring in increased populations, I think, from all over the city. I think that it's an opportunity that would just allow for other amusements once this comes. And the park is really beautiful. It's a naturally beautiful environment, 186 acres and adjacent to the Audubon, Louisiana Nature Center.
Yep.
And we've got total together there 240 acres of beautiful land.
Yep.
Natural beauty.
No, it's wildlife in the middle of the city. It's pretty amazing.
It's really very amazing.
Not many
And
places
we've got
have it.
the sports, arenas there on one side of the park, and on the side where we are, where the tennis center is where we are setting the location for the carousel, adjacent to that tennis center building.
Nice.
It's considered the passive part of the park. And we've got fishing and canoeing. A lot of people don't realize what's offered. And this will increase, hopefully, you see our population of folks that want to enjoy a natural environment and recreation.
Yep.
And something for the families. Carousels are historical, fine pieces of art. And I know that when we bring the kids for camp to Audubon and City Park and Lafayette Park, those are the kinds of amusements that the kids seek.
Yep.
So we would like that to happen here in New Orleans. It would be a wonderful thing. So we are looking for that to happen.
Hey, Tangi, right down the road, kind of an affluent, gated community that a lot of folks, sort of like Joe Brown Park and the Nature Center, a lot of folks don't think about it, forget about it. Eastover. I mean,
absolutely.
Gated with a guard. I tried to go in about 6 months ago thinking I could just drive in or talk my way in. They're like, nope. I was like, I had a home that I was just, that was for sale. I was kind of trying to use that to get in to go take a peek at. And they were like, you got to have a realtor. Gated on both sides, the lake side of Lake Forest Boulevard and the Intracoastal Waterway, or the opposite of the lake side. Both are gated. Lots of nice custom-built homes. Post-Katrina, the kind of controller, the guy who kind of handled things, Donnie Pate, the original developer, I think some sinful behavior, abandoning the golf course, selling the dirt for them to build levees. I mean, these are people that have their homes, their backyards on the golf course. Now it's on like a retention pond or a golf course that, if it's still there, not maintained properly. Some good news with the Bayou Phoenix and Troy Hendry's project. Part of the phases is getting at least 18 holes of golf back at Eastover. And
it would be phenomenal. It would be phenomenal, not just for our subdivision, but for the entire New Orleans East, this region. I think prior to Katrina, it was a stellar course and just well visited, by so many famous folks, PGA certified. I mean, it's really, just so many opportunities. I tell you, sometimes I sit and I think about it, Corey, and it's just, you're just wanting it to happen. You're wanting even, a smidgen of it to at least get started, because once folks see that, I think it makes all the difference in the world for the rest of it to come. If you build it, they will come. I firmly believe in that. I really do. It was so well visited.
I was nervous about Eastover after the golf course was gone. Pat Swilling's big house, he no longer lives out there. Remember John Forcade, the old Saints quarterback? He isn't out there. Aaron Neville lived out there.
Yes.
But even with those losses, the neighborhood is still kind of hung on and is still solid, isn't it?
It really is, and that's the tenacity of the residents. Pretty much all of our residents came back. Of course, like anywhere, we lost some, but I tell you what, we are very strong-willed folks. We believe in maintaining our property, maintaining a value here, and just a way of life that's what it should be. A premier subdivision with custom-built homes. Folks have worked very hard, in this effort. And it speaks to the tenacious atmosphere. And I think that we all believe that it's coming. It's coming back.
Hey, Tangi, I'm going to call you in a few weeks. And one weekend, like on a Saturday, I'm going to come out and check out Joe Brown Park with you, if that's all right.
Yes, absolutely. You just let me know, and I'll be happy to do that.
No, I'm like a lot of folks, not thinking about it, and it's been too many years since I've been out there. Same thing with the Nature Center. I need to wake up and get out to the east.
Oh, absolutely. And I wish you had come to our Heart Walk we had this past Saturday. We had 100 plus folks that came out and, in recognition of National Heart Health Month.
Nice.
And it was just a wonderful, wonderful 2-mile walk. And then we went from the Nature Center. We started at the boardwalk through the nature trails.
Nice.
And into the park. There's a way that you get through there by the natatorium, by the swimming facility.
Hey, Tanja, I'm hitting the top of the hour. I apologize. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
333.
Thank you, Corey.
Also on
I enjoyed
YouTube.
it.
That's on radio at
Tanja
NOLA
Wall,
Talk,
Corey
93.9
Johnson with you.
FM,
Coming right
WSLA
back.
New Orleans.
Don't move.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 5 p.m. In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Where can you find shish kebab in New Orleans? Lamb, beef, chicken, shrimp, plus all your other Mediterranean favorites. Lebanon's Cafe on the streetcar line. Lunch, dinner, and shish kebab. Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, is now more convenient than ever. Now open, the Woodhouse Day Spa, Metairie location, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. Metairie and Kenner's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
If you or a loved one are suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metier.
I feel personally, when I walk around on the grounds, that it's sacred ground. It's healing. Just the environment is healing. Just being here makes one feel like that, I can let go. I can let go of the worry. I can let go of the stress that I've been carrying around for a long time. We don't shame anybody. We don't blame anybody. We don't judge anyone. Just that alone really is the foundation on which everything else that we do is done.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 504-291-4000.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
504-291-4000. 291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com.
When you think of Fury's Restaurant in Metairie, you think about John Fury, an absolute genius at the fryer, making the best fried shrimp in New Orleans. None better anywhere. Fury's Restaurant in Metairie.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
If you need a private investigator, Barnaby Jones is there, even though he's 95 years old. Just give him a warm glass of milk.
Barnaby Jones.
Oh, boy.
Starring Buddy Ebsen.
And
also
Catwoman.
starring Lee Merriweather.
Catwoman.
With guest stars.
Yeah, you right. Thank you, Mr. Drew Brees. 5 o'clock power hour is upon us. Thanks so much for checking us out each and every weekday, taking you home in style. 4 to 6 o'clock on the radio. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. You can check us out live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. We're on YouTube right now. Check out our YouTube channel, Corey Johnson Neutral Ground. Spread the word. Send that link to a friend or buddy, family member. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It don't cost nothing. We're on TV statewide till 5:30. 2 big hours on the radio, 4 to 6. 2 big hours on YouTube, 4 to 6. 2 big hours live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. 90 minutes of fun on the television set. Cox Channel 4 TV, that's Your View, Louisiana. Cox Channel 4, 4 to 5:30 weekdays. Charter television subscribers, a.k.a. Spectrum. Spectrum Channel 333, 4 to 5:30 weekdays. Yeah, you right. Learn it, love it, live it, make it a habit. Set the alarm on your cellular device for 4 p.m. so you can check out the Neutral Ground with yours truly. If you missed the last hour, the 4 o'clock hour, Tangi Wall joined us, head of the New Orleans East Matters Coalition, discussing some good news. This Propel Park, 50-acre site, part of the Michoud Industrial District, but they're driving pilings, all brand new, about 1.3 million square feet, modernized industrial space, advanced manufacturing and distribution out in New Orleans East. You know, pilings in the ground are so important, you know it's coming. The Lowe's site will not be a Target in New Orleans East. The mayor opened in her mouth and Target running from the city. That would have been a great anchor for that Lowe's store, a Target. Now, these are just rumors. I can't even tell you, man, I think there's a lot of traction here. I'm hoping and praying. That's all I can say. That like an IKEA, that furniture store, that European furniture store, that would be a regional get for New Orleans East. It wouldn't just be something for New Orleans East residents. And IKEA, you'd have folks coming from Metairie, from Kenner, from the North Shore, from the West Bank, from Slidell, maybe even from southern Mississippi, because there is no IKEA in this area, in this region. And one in New Orleans East, I-10, easy access, right off of the Reed exit. it would be fantastic if that Lowe's was converted to an IKEA furniture store. That would one up the Target. I'm not knocking the Target, but you've got a Walmart one exit down, a big Walmart at Bullard and I-10, one exit down, 2 miles down the road. It's sort of a duplication. Now, again, I would have loved the Target, but an IKEA would even be better. Right across the street, Mackey Studios, that would be something great to see. The Mackey Studios being built on the old Sam's Club Walmart site that's long been torn down. The Lakeside I-10 and Reed. That's been discussed for 6-8 months now. No shovels in the ground. Six Flags site. Bayou Phoenix, Troy Henry's crew. No shovels in the ground yet. Lincoln Beach, no shovels in the ground yet. Just, the Plaza site, live, work, play. None of that's going to be developed. That's Ashton Ryan and Kylis, the Hard Rock Hotel collapse guy. It's just nothing's happening there. No, New Orleans East needs a big time leg up. And then I got into like Fantasy Friday type stuff. Those exits to nowhere. Even the Michoud exit. It's really not Michoud at all. Michoud would be going towards the lake and towards the chef. You exit on, I guess, what is Michoud for about 50 yards, and then you hook a right, and I guess you're on, what is that, Lake Forest Boulevard, which you can access off of the I-510. So it's really not, in theory, the Michoud exit because it's not really Michoud Boulevard right there. But that area and those next two exits where they basically ripped up the exits, the physical exits. They're not like barricades anymore. I'm sure like on a bike or a four-wheeler or motorcycle or something, you could access it. Some type of, all-terrain type vehicle. But the bridges are still there. They're not dismantling the bridges. So those two exits to nowhere past Michoud before I-510, I think that, we got to get creative for the East. It's like past Hain Boulevard and Lake Forest Boulevard on the lake. Those old campsites right on the railroad bridge, railroad tracks. Why not redevelop that? Have actual people living out there. Condo, the boat underneath and the condos on like the second and third floor and lake access. You telling me folks wouldn't buy and live out there with their boat under their house? It's no different from what you see like down in Shell Beach or Cocodrie or Venice or any of that. A lot of those, condo buildings, hell, out by the lakefront, out at West End Park, right on the lake. You've got the second and third floor where people live, and underneath is their boat floating in the water, jacked up above the water, access to the water. Boathouses, essentially, not camps, permanent living out there. Get creative with those old campsites past Hain and Lake Forest Boulevard that have been wiped out. They're not even there anymore. And those exits to nowhere, I think you could get a developer if you're like, you can develop like a Venetian Isles, like little fingers of land with houses and canals cut in for boat access, just like Venetian Isle, where your backyard, the front yard's the street. Park your car in the garage, on the driveway. The backyard is a canal hooked to major water. Out in New Orleans East, that's the thing about that area. You're 15 minutes from fresh, brackish salt water. Some of the best fishing, boating in the world, right there. And that seafood bounty that you can go catch. I think you get some developers, those exits to nowhere, develop, 100 acres or 200 acres on one side, 100 acres, 200 acres on the other side. Very, green and sound for the environment, where you're building like a Venetian Isles type thing, access to the water, but home sites. The immediate exits, you'd have, gas station, McDonald's, maybe in like a little, like those 6-story type hotels that you see, 4, 5, 6-story hotels. that type of stuff, just on those 2 exits. And then the developers, however many acres they're taking up, they've got to redevelop wetlands in an open water area somewhere right next to the existing wetlands. And I think you'd have developers that would be like, wait, I'm going to have interstate access, these exits where I can develop a few hundred acres on either side of the interstate in both those exits to nowhere. And then I'm just making it up, 100 acres on either side, 400 acres total with the 2 exits in both sides. Maybe they have to develop double that or triple that in wetlands somewhere else where it's open water. It would be flood protection. It'd be a win-win for the environment, a win-win for the economy, everything. We have to think outside the box a little bit, I think, to propel New Orleans east forward. So many ideas have been broached. The Plaza, let's tear it down. Live, work, play, all in one spot. Never happened. A Target at the Lowe's site. Never happened. Mackey Studios across the street. Not happening so far. Six Flags site redeveloped. Not happening so far. But good news with this Propel Park, 50 acres on the Michoud Assembly Facility campus, a modernized industrial space to advance manufacturing and distribution's coming. No, they've got pilings in the ground. That is happening. That's what we need to see in New Orleans East. Redevelopment of the Eastover Golf Course, not just because I play golf. Exactly what, Tangi Wall was saying. It's a magnet to bring in other things. Hey, every day this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park, not messing around. You know the drill, $50 million invested. It's all brand new. It's all state-of-the-art from the ground up. The Lamarck Automotive Complex on the car corner, Williams Boulevard and I-10 in Kennebra, right on the corner, right on the price. From the lake to the river, across the parish in Harahan, Elmwood, Jefferson Highway, Ronnie Lamarck scooped up the legendary truck dealership, Crescent City Ford. So now the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner and Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood, Harahan on Jefferson Highway. Every day this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex and now Lamarck Crescent City Ford.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday. Dinner Monday to Saturday. 5:30 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Tuesday afternoon. You on the causeway right now? Beeline into the North Shore? How about getting a to-go order from Trey Yen in Mandeville? So good. It's not Chinese food. It's Chinese cuisine. A level or two up from anything else in the area. Hey, that phone number at Trey Yen, you know the area code 985-626-4476. Dial them up right now. 626-4476. I'll tell you something that's just really special at Trey Yen. Besides their wonderful tong cho sauce, I love that. But the whole fresh fish, it's usually speckled trout and or flounder. Sometimes they have both. You can choose. Local fresh speckled trout, local fresh flounder. The head and tail left intact, but fully deboned. You get both fillets. They flash fry that bad boy, just crispy and great. Like that, it's unreal. Seasoned, marinated, flash fried. You could roll it like on some brown paper and there wouldn't be grease spots on the paper. Just crispy and wonderful speckled trout and flounder. I mean, Trey Yen's one of the best local seafood restaurants with obviously a Chinese twist. But that whole speckled trout, ready to go right there. They're just getting started. Ladles and ladles of what I just mentioned, that tong cho sauce, their signature sauce you get nowhere else. They have homemade sweet and sour. They have homemade hot mustard. But the tong cho sauce is sweet and spicy, just absolutely fantastic. And they put ladles and ladles of it on those, whole speckled trout, whole flounder, both fillets. A great dish to share with someone else. The whole fish at Trey Yen is something special with that tong cho sauce. Just a suggestion. Here's another one, especially if you go with like a crew. You got like 4 of you or more. Get the honey pecan shrimp entree as an appetizer. Honey pecan shrimp entree as an appetizer. Just these plump shrimp with this sweet sauce and pecans that are glazed. Just a great combination. Just a couple of the great dishes you can get at Trey Yen in Mandeville. Fire in a to-go order right now if you're on the causeway. 626-4476. 626-4476. Or better yet, dine in. You North Shore folks, it's at the foot of the causeway. You know where. Convenient to Madisonville, Mandeville, Folsom, Bush, Covington, Lacombe. You folks on the South Shore, I'm not making up the numbers to get you to go. Corey says 25 minutes from Lakeside. It's at least 40 minutes. No, it's 25 minutes from Lakeside Shopping Center. You cross the causeway immediately on your left. No driving on the North Shore. Treyen and Mandeville. It's special. It's worth the drive. Plus, when I'm with like a date or friends or family and you're on the causeway, you get in a good little 20, 25-minute conversation. Before you know it, boom, you're pulling into the parking lot at Treyen. I mentioned some good news for New Orleans East, the Michoud Industrial District, adding a brand new building, like 1.3 million square feet of advanced industrial space, manufacturing and distribution on the Michoud Assembly Facility campus, a 50-acre site that'll be known as Propel Park. And the pilings are being driven. So this is real. This is happening. We're going to discuss it with Michael Hecht on Friday when he joins us. Another edition of our Greater New Orleans Inc. segment brought to you by Latrim. More good news. I'm pro-jobs, pro-capitalism. And I'm not into over-regulation, and I'm not into deregulation, like no regulation. A stop sign, a stoplight is regulation. I'm into deregulation. What, you want to get rid of stoplights and stop signs? See how well that's going to work with traffic. So you roll your eyes and go, no, you got to have that regulation. Exactly. You have to have a balance. The BP oil disaster, you had both extremes. You had, Bush's guy, Cheney, the vice president. Hey, man, these oil companies don't want a disaster any more than we do. They know what they're doing. Let's deregulate it and let them handle it. And then you got, BP cutting corners because there's no one monitoring them. There's no regulation that's being followed, that's being watched, that's being enforced. And we get that Macondo well and the BP oil disaster because of a lack of regulation. And then Obama's president, and he overregulates. He's like, man, we got to shut down this offshore drilling for a while. It's like when it's regulated and done properly, it is done all around the world, and it's safe and it's productive. So I'm a regulation guy up to a limit, and I'm not a deregulation, like get rid of it. You have to have some regulation. And I remember Buddy Roemer, late 80s, as governor. DEQ in Louisiana. He's like, we're going to actually have some teeth with DEQ. DEQ is about the Department of Environmental Quality. It's not some pro-economy arm. It's to protect the environment, to protect the citizens of Louisiana, to make sure our water, our air, the land is safe and clean and not corroded and corrupted by cancer-causing agents, toxic chemicals, and the like. But it's Louisiana. And there's a reason all these chemical plants come here. Hard for us to get real jobs, white-collar jobs, because of the bureaucracy. Easy for the chemical companies to come in because we whore out the state. And wink, wink, we're going to look the other way. Dump all you want in the river. Emit more from the smokestack than you're supposed to. Wink, wink, we'll look the other way. Hey, we do bust you. It's going to be such a minor fine, a little slap on the wrist that it doesn't even affect you. And you're going to do something crooked, illegal again. There's a reason that area in between New Orleans and Baton Rouge is known as Cancer Alley, because it's full of cancer-causing toxic waste in our air, in our water, in our land that we allow to happen because the Department of Environmental Quality in Louisiana works for the oil and gas industry, works for the chemical plants, works for the fertilizer manufacturers, works for those folks, not for us. They're not about environmental quality. They're about letting those folks kind of do what they want. The inmates run the asylum. So some good news. The Department of Justice, the U.S. Department of Justice, has sued the Danka Corporation for basically releasing unacceptable amounts of cancer-causing agents upriver from New Orleans in Cancer Alley. A lot of poor folks, mostly black, disenfranchised, no stroke, no power, cancer, deformities with babies being born, Folks dying early, folks having all kind of crazy cancer, off the charts. And the oil and gas industry, the chemical plants, they act like, no, there's no proof of that. This Cancer Alley thing's a farce. We live and work down here too. No, they live and work away from the plant. They're not near the water, the air. They're not breathing it like the folks that are right up against the fence. No, there's a reason they don't have, gated communities next to those things. There's a reason rich, affluent, middle class even don't live near those things. Because everyone knows what I know, what you know. There's a lot of pollution going on there, and we look the other way. So, no, I welcome the U.S. Department of Justice. I mean, the Environmental Protection Agency, I want an environmentalist running that. The Department of Defense, I don't want some, dove running that. I want, a hawk running that. I want someone that has military experience running that. The environment, I want someone that's environmentally sound, that's not worried about the economy or capitalism. I know there's a balance. That's taken care of automatically. We're in America. Now I want to protect the environment. Buddy Roemer, he was the only one. He's like, Department of Environmental Quality, it's going to be that. We're going to protect the environment. And then right when he's gone, it all goes away, and sellout Edwin Edwards comes in and, you got to let the oil and gas industry, the chemical plants do what they want. No, you don't. No, you don't. Hey, they opened 30 minutes ago. They'll roll till 9 p.m. tonight. I'm talking about Fausto's Italian Bistro. Truly some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Head to Fausto's. You folks watching on TV, Cox Channel 4, Spectrum Channel 333. See you tomorrow, straight up 4 o'clock. You folks listening on the radio, watching on YouTube, checking us out live streaming, CoreyTalks.com. We seamlessly continue until 6 p.m. Fausto's open till 9 p.m. Sit at the bar. Check out some sports action. They got a few seats at the bar. Sit inside the restaurant. With weather like this, tonight, it's going to be like low 70s. Dine outside at Fausto's. Like I always say, truly, some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian can be found at Fausto's Italian Bistro. A few blocks in on Vets from the Parish Line, parking right in front, great service, great food, tough to beat. Fausto's Italian Bistro. I know so many of you folks like, dude, I've been hearing about Fausto's. I drive by there all the time. And you've never been? Ask one of your friends. They've been to Fausto's. They'll recommend it. Fausto's. It's Fausto, his brother Roland. They've owned it for 30 plus years. Their sister is Irene from Irene's Restaurant in the Quarter. This is like the first family of Sicilian and Italian. You will not be disappointed. Now, I'm overdue for Irene's, by the way. That chicken with the olive oil, the garlic, the rosemary, it's the best version of that anywhere in the world. It's fantastic. Now, Irene's is a great place. I love the old Irene's, the small place on the Esplanade side of the Quarter. Now they're on the Canal Street side of the Quarter on Iberville. Well, is it Iberville or Bienville? I guess they're on Bienville, actually. Bienville, about 2 blocks, a block and a half or so off Decatur. You can park in the riverfront parking lot, walk right down the street. Irene's is so good. And their new restaurant, in an old radio building. That was the original WNOE when the No Family, NOE, the No Family of North Louisiana owned it.
This is what Drew Brees thinks about Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Actually, Brees doesn't think at all about Super Discount Store, but they do have the lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law for beer, alcohol, and wine. Super Discount Store in Chalmette. Super Discount Store!
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision. a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here, and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring, and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about their daily lunch specials like red beans and rice, black-eyed peas, white butter beans, liver and onions. Daily lunch specials. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Yeah, you right. I was in that big Rouse's on Napoleon in Tchoupitoulas the other night. Grabbed a couple of USDA prime fillets, cut them up into little cubes, got a nice fresh onion from Rouse's, made some shish kebab, grabbed some of those avocados, fresh avocados that were ripe, but they got the ones that are hard that you can, keep on the counter, put in a paper bag to ripen over a few days. I got some that were ready to go. Got some great salad, some lemons, some onions, made a great salad, some shish kebab, everything I needed at that big old Rouse's, Tchoupitoulas and Napoleon. I normally head to the little one, the one on Ferret. That's really my go-to Rouse's, in between Jefferson and Napoleon, that boutique store, as I call it. Valence at Ferret. Yeah, there's a Rouse's there. It's amazing. It pretty much anchors now that little Ferret Street corridor, which has hundreds of folks walking up and down the street. The neighborhood has a lot of new folks moving in, a lot of the folks that have been there for decades still there. It's pretty cool. Anyway, no, it's like New Orleans at its best, to be honest with you, that Ferret corridor. I used to call it the Ferret Jet. There were like 5 businesses on the street, and now there's about 50, and it's vibrant. It's amazing. No, there are Rouse's everywhere. For where I live, over by the Sewage and Water Board, literally the plant off Claiborne's, kind of Holly Grove neighborhood right there, Pigeon Town, right there. I can get to the Rouse's on Airline and Causeway, Airline and LeBar in under 10 minutes. I can get to the Rouses in Mid-City. What is that? Carrollton near Bienville? Carrollton by the Lafitte Greenway. I can get there in less than 10 minutes. I can get to the Rouses from where I live on Chapatoulas and Napoleon. Less than 10 minutes. And about 5-6 minutes away from that one on the old Ferret jet, now the Ferret Slow, right there on Valence and Ferret in between Jefferson and Napoleon. No, there's a Rouse's in your neighborhood, near your neighborhood, right next door to your neighborhood. Over 60 Rouse's for over 60 years. Truly is New Orleans grocery store. A third of all Rouse's, a third of their 60-plus stores, over 20 Rouse's are in Metro New Orleans. It really is South Louisiana, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's tastes like home. Corey Johnson with you, 5 o'clock power hour on this Tuesday afternoon. Tangi Wall joined us. She runs Joe Brown Park out in the East. She's also head of the New Orleans East Matters Coalition. We talked about a lot of stuff, including this Propel Park, this 50-acre site on the Michoud Assembly Facility campus. A modernized industrial space being built, 1.3 million square feet, brand new from the ground up. Advanced manufacturing and distribution coming for New Orleans East. What a perfect complement for the Michoud plant. That's 42 acres, climate controlled, under one roof, including NASA, putting man on the moon, putting man on Mars. Incredible what we do out in New Orleans East. No, that's why I brought Tangi Wall on. Is there anyone on radio and television for this many years has been such a proponent that has talked about New Orleans East, legitimate about it? Lots of, depressing things. The Plaza site being torn down, supposed to be a live, work, play, thing, never developed. Ashton Ryan, FNBC, Kylis, part of that, never happening. The Lowe's site, the mayor opens her mouth. Target's coming, y'all. No, it's not. Why didn't you be quiet, LaToya the Destroyer? Do you not understand the tough bureaucracy that New Orleans is the city of no, not the city of yes? It's hard to get folks to come here, and before Target announces it, you have to announce it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Target said, screw New Orleans. We're not going in that Lowe's site. This mayor's cocking off that we're coming, and we haven't made an announcement ourselves. No, we're not coming now. And it's official. I had Oliver Thomas on. Local media hasn't picked up on it. They will. You'll see a story in the Times-Picayune like it's brand new. Target not coming to the Lowe's site. Could be tomorrow, next week, next month. It's coming. 46826. They'll have the story soon enough. I had it a month ago. The Lowe's site is not going to be a Target. But I'm hearing maybe IKEA furniture might move there. That would even be better than a Target. But also, I can't verify that. And I'm not optimistic. I'm not jaded or cynical. I'm hopeful. I mean, I guess if you put a gun to my head, I'd probably say no, but there's been some talk of that, and that would be better than the Target because it would draw from the region. You'd have folks from Slidell, Jefferson Parish, Kenner, North Shore, West Bank coming to New Orleans East to buy furniture from that IKEA. People like those stores, that European furniture store. But nothing happening yet. Across the street, the lakeside of I-10 and Reed, Mackey Studios in the old Sam's Club Walmart site, no ground broken. Bayou Phoenix, Six Flags site, no ground broken. Lincoln Beach, no ground broken. I mean, a lot of talk and no walk. So hopefully with this Propel Park, pilings are in the ground. This isn't talk. This is walk. They're doing it. Hopefully that can get some things going. Now, the Six Flags site, yeah, I think it should have been like a Bass Cabela's Pro Shop, or they're the runner-ups, a Buc-ee's, or they're the runner-ups, Flying J Truck Stop, they're the runner-ups. Let me tell you something. I eat my roast beef po' boy plain, meat, bread, and gravy only. If I were selling them, I'd have mayonnaise, lettuce, and tomato fully dressed. I don't go to Buc-ee's. I don't go to Bass Pro Shop or Cabela's. I'm not a hunter or fisherman. I don't drive a truck, so I would never go to the Flying J Truck Stop. That's beyond the point. It's not about me. It's about the roast beef po' boy. How do I eat it? Meat, bread, and gravy only. How does most of the population eat it? Mayonnaise, lettuce, and tomato. I don't care that I don't go to Buc-ee's. It's $40 million build. It employs a few hundred folks. It would attract a lot of folks. It'd be a tax generator. Cabela's Bass Pro Shop. You go to them. You propose, build the biggest one. You're 15 minutes by boat. You could launch boats from the Bass Pro Shop. 15 minutes from fresh, brackish, salt water. The Sportsman's Paradise. No one proactively doing that. No one. The city, hey, that site's available. Yeah, we get Troy Henry, a local guy who wants to develop it, and the runner-ups, Drew Brees and Demario Davis. I love Drew Brees and I love Demario Davis. A couple of Saints players are the runner-ups for that proposed site. It's just embarrassing. Should have been Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's. Should have been Flying J Truck Stop, Buc-ee's, something like that. Disney World Park, something. But no one around the country knew it was even available. The Four Seasons Hotel, about $600 million. We lucked into that. The CEO of the Four Seasons happened to be in New Orleans, saw the building abandoned, and thought, this could be a good Four Seasons. That's how that got started. The guy just happened to be in New Orleans, happened to be by Harrah's downtown, saw the building, inquired about it, and that's how that got going. There wasn't some, hey, the World Trade Center's available. Let's go approach the Four Seasons. Let's go approach. That isn't how it worked. Six Flags sites, hey, it's available. There wasn't even a sign on the interstate, nothing. No one knew about it outside of New Orleans. That's why we got Troy Henry, Bayou Phoenix as the winner, and Drew Brees and Demario Davis as the runner-ups. That's embarrassing. Just ridiculously, insanely poor marketing. Pathetic effort. No, we get what we deserve. No, New Orleans East. I mean, I drove out there about a month ago, past Bullard, no lights on the interstate, got off on I-510, dark as can be, no lights on I-510. I mean, kind of scary, like I might hit a wild boar. There might be a mattress on the interstate or a sofa, box spring. And there was a box spring and sofa when I got off on Old Gentilly Road in Almonaster. And some of you are like, Jesus, Corey, you got off on Old Gentilly Road in Almonaster at 9:30, 10 at night? Are you insane? Pitch black. Only when I got to NASA, a shift was ending where a lot of cars flowing out and it's lit up at NASA. Just terrible. The folks in the East deserve a lot better than that. A lot better than talk and no walk. A lot more than that. Just embarrassing, pathetic. No, but there is some positive. Hopefully it'll get New Orleans growing. Speaking of embarrassing and pathetic, well, the mayor's spokesperson's comment, I'll read that to you, but I guess something positive, that court, case that Judge Jennifer Medley's overseeing, this was day 2, the recall organizers suing the registrar of voters, the Secretary of State's office, wanting real numbers. How many actual voters, registered voters that are legitimate, are in Orleans Parish? How many are there that are legitimate? Now, I don't know if these numbers are right, but they're partially correct. Recall folks say 500 plus folks are registered that are dead. They're deceased. Impossible for them to vote. There are over 9,000 that no longer live in Orleans Parish. There are over 20,000 that not only don't live in Orleans Parish, don't even live in the state of Louisiana. I don't know if those numbers are accurate or not. I would think they're more accurate than not, because the, broken New Orleans, the registrar of voters, no offense to Dr. Wilson, there's no sense of urgency to get those numbers right. It isn't like the opposite, like people are flowing into the city. You better keep up on the latest folks because they're moving here. They live in Orleans Parish. They're going to want to vote. It's the opposite. It's people leaving. And I don't think people are worried about someone dead voting or someone that doesn't live in Orleans Parish or doesn't live in the state anymore coming in to vote in an election. Today, the day 2 of the trial was sort of canceled, postponed. And reports are that the recall organizers, Eileen Carter and Belden Batiste, are negotiating with the Secretary of State's office for a settlement, like let's agree to a lower number, or a number of folks that aren't registered in Orleans Parish, don't live in the state anymore, or are deceased. The recall folks are saying 30,000. I don't think the Secretary of State's going to say, okay, 30,000. but I think they're going to settle on a
City's
number.
premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
At Helm Paint, we go the extra mile with free delivery anywhere in the metro area. In the middle of a job and short on paint? Call us and we'll come to you.
Short on time? Call in your order and pick it up in the drive-thru at our Earhart Boulevard location.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
If you or a loved one are suffering from Parkinson's disease, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metier.
People started coming to us and asking for help for things other than addiction. We have a Parkinson's patient here. He comes in once a month and gets his little booster because that's what you have to do. In 2 hours after he started, his tremors in his hands stopped. So he said, Paula, your major marketing challenge is that it's too good to be true. But it's true. It truly is true. We can't say that all of these things have a cure, but these things happen and they're real.
Call Springfield Wellness Center, 504-291-4000.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
Make the call, 504-291-4000, 291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center, springfieldwellnesscenter.com.
Hey guys, it's Frank Smith from LasVegasGambling.com with your weekend 5-star lock of the week. Lock of the week. Take the Lakers and the points over the Clippers. Sell the house, sell the boat, sell your children. Send grandma away and take the money. Put everything you've got on this 5-star selection. It's the Lakers over the Clippers. And we've also got a fantastic 5-star parlay as well. Call us now, 888-555-7777. It's Frank Smith, a.k.a. The Hammer, from LasVegasGambling.com. Do it now.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, hey, what can I do to give you a hand? He said, well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place. So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto, River City's Total Maintenance Studios. River City's Total Maintenance. That's New Orleans' premier air conditioning and heating operation. That's Fair and Honest Lucas and the boys. Honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. What more do you need? Honest, incapable of screwing you around. There's no way they'll do a service, repair, replacement unless it's absolutely necessary. AC and heating experts, they aren't guessing with the diagnosis. They're figuring it out right away and fixing it right away. And speaking of right away, your heat or AC is not working right, or worse, not working at all, they come immediately. Lucas understands you're inconvenienced. He gets it. Honest. Air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. That's River City's Total Maintenance. That's all you need to know. NOLAAC.com. That's how you find them. NOLAAC.com. Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Deliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. Yeah, you right. That court hearing for the Cantrell recall, folks, abruptly ends as both sides, the recall folks, the Secretary of State, seeking a deal, trying to come to a compromise, settle on a number of how many voters are either dead, don't live in Orleans Parish, don't live in the state. The recall folks say 30,000. I'm sure the Secretary of State's office has some idea. The Registrar of Voters' office has some idea, some rough number. I don't think the recall folks are going to get the 30,000 number they're seeking, but I don't think it's going to be like 5,000 either. I don't know where it's going to fall, but it's going to fall somewhere. And 20% of that, let's say it's 20,000. 20% of 20,000, 4,000 folks subtracted off the total number of signatures needed. 20% of registered voters needed. If the settlement number of, hey, they're 20,000, okay, we'll accept that. That's the settlement number. 20% of that is 4,000. That would be subtracted off the 49,000 number. 49,900, and pull it down to like 45,900. So that's what this is all about. It's a mandamus action. It's basically having the clerk of court, or excuse me, the registrar of voters, the Secretary of State doing their job, having an accurate number. And Kyle Ardoin, and I don't think, the Registrar of Voters, Dr. Wilson, they're denying that the numbers are inaccurate. But Mayor LaToya Cantrell and others, extremists on the loony left, think it's about disenfranchising black voters. It's ridiculous. Bill Roussel is a political consultant, a longtime advisor to LaToya Cantrell. He says, this recall is quickly being revealed as a Republican effort to disenfranchise the people of New Orleans. It's a voter suppression move straight out of the Jim Crow era, complete with backroom deals. Just embarrassing and pathetic. Black people in New Orleans, think through this, and you deserve better than this crap. It's like Jeff Landry saying the Democrats and liberals, the wacky right-wing gubernatorial candidate, the AG. It's ridiculous. These extremes on the right, statewide, these extremes on the left, citywide, are an embarrassment. They bring us all down, black, white, Latino, Asian, gay, straight, whatever. It's pathetic. It's excuse-making. We're in 2023. Everyone can register to vote and can vote. There's no one suppressing the vote. This isn't about a purge of legitimate voters. It is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. No, they're people that are educated, smart, just happen to be hyper left that think this is some plan against black folks. Eileen Carter's black. Belden Batiste's black. They are nowhere near conservative Republicans. They are liberal Democrats, clearly, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And you go, yeah, Corey, the funding of this comes from a Republican. That's true. Most of the funding comes from a Republican. How is that any different from any Democrat or Republican elected official in New Orleans and Louisiana especially that continuously circumvents political donation laws? You get a husband giving, the wife giving, the kids giving, cousins, relatives, giving money to the gardener to give, giving money to the, housekeeper to give. It's embarrassing. It's ridiculous. A 12-year-old kid donating $2,500 or $5,000 to a campaign happens all the time. This circumventing of campaign laws, political finance laws. In Louisiana, no one cares. It's pathetic. We don't have a cup of coffee law. so lobbyists and citizens can influence elected officials by donating to their campaigns. Ask John Alario, Walter Reed. My God, they're the kings of taking campaign donations and using it for their personal expenses. It's a joke. So no, it's not a perfect world that most of the recall money came from one donor, but it's no different from the political campaign laws that are circumvented all the time. But this Bill Roussel quote and advisor Cantrell is embarrassing. This recall is quickly being revealed as a Republican effort. It's like a racist thing. Like Republicans are racist. They're anti-black. They're against New Orleanians, especially black New Orleans. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's no different from Jeff Landry. Oh, look at New Orleans. It's Democrat run. It's a garbage can. You know, there's a lot of truth to those comments when you talk about extreme wacky right and lunatic liberals, the extremes on both sides. But generally speaking, this recall is quickly being revealed as a Republican effort to disenfranchise the people in New Orleans, black people. It's a voter suppression move straight out of the Jim Crow era, black people, complete with backroom deals. What's that, Blue Boy? You're just a basset hound, and you know it's all about getting the real number. These same folks wouldn't want folks in Jefferson Parish or Texas coming in and voting in Orleans. Good point, Blue Boy. Excellent point. See you tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Be there.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.